Let me guess. You're looking at your sales forecast for this quarter, and it's a beautiful work of fiction, a masterpiece of wishful thinking that belongs in the fantasy section right next to the dragons and wizards. You built it, your team contributed to it, you presented it with confidence, and yet you have this nagging feeling that in the pit of your stomach, it's all going to fall apart again. If you're tired of the end of the quarter scramble and that surprised look when you miss your numbers, then stick around because I'm about to expose the 3 lies that you're telling yourself about your sales pipeline and give you a sample framework to turn your forecast from fiction into a tool that you can actually count on. Hey, I'm Dan, and I help small businesses, entrepreneurs, and sales leaders stop guessing and start growing. I've spent years in the trenches watching talented people just like you get blindsided by their own pipelines. It's not because you're bad at your job, it's because you've been taught to look at sales forecasting all wrong. We're conditioned to be optimistic, to trust the process. But what happens when the process is broken is that you get a cycle of missed targets, frustrated teams, and sleepless nights. In this video, we're going to be brutally honest. We're going to get to challenge the assumptions that are costing you money and credibility. And I promise that by the end of this, you'll have a clear, no BS framework to build forecasts that are actually rooted in reality. So if you're ready to stop the guesswork, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss what's coming. Cycle, it's a classic. It starts with high hopes. You've got a pipeline full of hot leads. A spreadsheet is a beautiful shade of green. You feel like you're on top of the world. Then a week goes by and a sure thing goes silent. Another deal gets pushed to the next quarter, and suddenly that green spreadsheet starts to look a little anemic. The panic starts to creep in. You start making more calls, sending more emails, maybe even offering discounts you know you shouldn't. You're working harder, not smarter, all because the foundation of your forecast was built on sand. And the worst part, the end of the month and the quarter arrives, you've missed your numbers and you have to explain why. You say things like, oh, market conditions or unexpected delays, but deep down, you know that the forecast was wrong from the start. This brings us to the first and most common lie that you tell yourself, the hopes and prayers lie. This is when your pipeline This brings us first and foremost to the most common lie that you tell yourself, the hope and prayer pipeline. This is when your pipeline stages are based on feelings, not facts. Stages like interested, contacted, proposal sent. What do they even mean? Interested could mean they like your LinkedIn post once. Contacted could mean you left a voicemail they'll never listen to. You're essentially hoping that they're interested and praying that they're going to call you back. There are no objective, verifiable criteria for moving a deal from one stage to the next. The truth is, your prospect's actions, not your activities, should define your pipeline stages. Did they agree to a meeting with a decision maker? That's a stage. Did they provide you with data that you need to build a business case? That's a stage. Did you send a proposal? That means nothing. Did they review the proposal? That means something. So we're talking about those specific business stages where you're actually moving actions forward and your business deal is actually moving forward. So without objective criteria, you're not really managing a pipeline. You're curating a list of companies that you'd like to work with, and that is a big difference. Okay, lie number 2. This is a personal favorite of mine because we're all guilty of it. This is the over-optimistic close date. You ask your salesperson or yourself, when is the deal going to close? And you get an answer like end of month. Why? Because that's the end of the month. It's a date pulled from thin air, often based on when you need the deal to close, not when the client is actually ready to buy. We do this because we're afraid of bad news. It's easier to put a deal in this month's forecast and look good now than it is to have the tough conversation and admit it's probably a next quarter opportunity. But here's the thing. A guess is not really a date. A real close date is based on a documented mutual plan with the client. It's built backwards from their desired implementation date, their procurement process, their legal review schedule. And if you don't know these things, you don't have a close date. You have a wish, and wishes don't pay bills. So you've got to go back to your client, Have those qualification dialogues and really get a better understanding of what their actual close date is going to be and what that close date means to them, whether they hit it or whether they don't. That'll be really, really specific. The final lie that is quietly killing your accuracy is the lone wolf forecast. This is where the forecast is built in a vacuum. It's one person's opinion, yours or your salesperson's, without any external validation or collaborative review. You're so deep in the deal, you can't even see the red flags yourself. You've developed happy ears hearing only what you want from the prospect. Great forecasting is a team sport. It requires deal reviews where your assumptions are challenged, not in a beat you up kind of way, but in a let's get to the truth kind of way. Questions like who else is involved in this decision? What happens if their boss says no? What is their backup plan if they don't move forward with us? You should really be asking questions when you go on a listing appointment, for example, if you are in the real estate industry, as to whether or not all the decision makers will be present. If they are not present at the time of your listing presentation, then you are not being effective and you are not in front of all the parties that are competent enough to be able to make a decision. And that's what leaves you behind in the dust. These questions are not negative, they're just realistic. They pressure test the deal. If a deal can't stand up to a little internal scrutiny, then it was never going to survive contact with the client's procurement department. So these questions aren't negative, they're just realistic. They pressure test the deal to make sure that if the deal can't stand up to a little internal scrutiny, it was never going to survive contact with the client's actual decision-making team. Okay, so we've torn down the lies. Now let's build something better. So I'm going to give you the 3-step reality check framework to make your forecasts brutally accurate. Step number 1, I want you to define your exit criteria. Go back to your pipeline stages. For each stage, I want you to define one non-negotiable client verified action that has to be completed to move to the next stage. For example, to move from appointment set to appointment held, the exit criteria must mean that you actually physically sat with the client either on Zoom or in person. It's black or white. It either happened or it didn't. You either met them or you didn't. No more, well, I kind of did and I kind of didn't. Step number 2, create a mutual close plan. Stop guessing at closing dates. On your next big deal, literally say to the prospect, to ensure that we hit your desired date to be able to put your property on the market, let's map out several steps that we both need to go through from now until then to be able to get there. This includes reviewing documents, making sure that we schedule photos, making sure that we get a stager in, et cetera, et cetera. So we're co-creating a timeline with them. Now, when we get to your close date, it's no longer a guess, it's actually their commitment to a close date. Number 3, we're going to conduct red team deal reviews. So once a week, we're going to get the team together and we're going to review the biggest deals that are in the pipeline. We're going to assign one person to be the red team, and their only job is to poke holes in the deal and find reasons that it might not close. So this isn't about killing deals, it's about identifying risks before they become reasons to be missed by your forecast. The framework takes courage. It means having honest conversations with yourself, your team, and your clients. But the result is actually a forecast that you can take to the bank. So now I want to hear from every single one of you. Which of these 3 lies hit closest to home? Let me know in the comments below. I read and respond to every single one of them. And if you found this valuable, do me a favor, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and go build a forecast you can be proud of.